Acting in animation. First, what's acting in animation? Basically, acting in animation is getting into the character, being and living our character, knowing them completely, emotional and physically. This in-depth knowledge of the character make us actors because we give life to another. As the old saying, an animator is an actor with a pencil, not a draftsman who acts. Why acting in animation is so important? We must convey emotions. Why? Because messages operate in the emotional level and not in the technical one. We can have a good technical performance, which it is not very difficult today. In the movie Toy Story, for example, the character of Woody had 600 points that could be manipulated. But as important as that is acting and evoke emotions. It seems that the story about acting in animation begins with Disney Studios. Bill Titla and Art Babbitt, two of the best animators of the golden era of Disney Studios, have been recognized as the first animators concerned about acting. Titla was responsible for Grumpy of the Seven Dwarfs, Stromboli of Pinocchio and Dumbo, where he took his 2-year-old son as a reference because he knew the movements had to resemble the baby's ones. This couple of animators decided to take their own life drawing classes at home because they were interested in the expressions and poses, which was not common at that time. In 1931, Walt Disney noticed that these artists had made great achievements giving life to these characters, which encouraged him to take his whole staff of animators to the Tuniar Art Institute in California to undertake life drawing classes. Finally, in 1932, he established the Great Disney Art School, just before the production of Snow White started. What did he want to achieve with this? He wanted the audience to feel, to actually care about the characters. With lectures like Action Analysis, they reviewed films by Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, basically to study staging and communication. Keaton goes for the physical humor and gag, Chaplin for the humanity and empathy. This combination is a really good reference for character animation. Also, they analyzed the German Expressionism, films by Leni Riefenstahl, as well as films about sports, nature, and documentaries. Disney Studio went from this in 1929 to this in 1937. In Disney's films from this time, it is not necessary to include text or dialogue, because the audience could understand simply through movement. Some good references about this are Bela Lugosi as the demon in Night on Bald Mountain, a short film from Disney animated by Bill Titla. Charles Chaplin as Felix the Cat by Otto Mesmer. We can see the similarities in Felin Follies from 1919. The singer Ellen Kane as Betty Boop by Shamus Culhane. Alexandra Danilova was the reference for the ostrich dance in Fantasia. Marthe Champion was the reference for Snow White, the Blue Fairy in Pinocchio, and the Hippos dance in Fantasia. John Sanders as Shere Khan, animated by Milt Kahl. And Hans Conried as the Captain Hook, animated by Frank Thomas. Among animators, there is a general agreement You should develop your kinesthetic sense related with the sense of movement and touch. This will allow us to portray more and different characters with subtle nuance, gestures, and sensitivities. According to Doron Meyer, the key elements while working with animator characters are believability. The most important is believability, not realism. Getting your audience to feel as if your character has thoughts and inner motives, forgetting the animator's motives. We feel empathy and feel sorry when Simba's father or Bambi's mother dies. But just love when Kenny from South Park dies each episode because this character is not believable. Feel the character. Who is really my character? What is his consciousness and identity? Grumpy is kissed by Snow White. As he brusquely walks away, Grumpy's inner feelings are portrayed in his telling facial expressions, his body language, and the timing of his reactions. Think. Immediate instincts don't exist. Wait for the opportunity to act. Give importance to the process, which leads in an action. This will make your animation more complex and depth. React. Every action must have a reason. Make sure you know what your character is reacting to and that the reaction is reasonable. Consistency. Retain a consistent attitude for your character's reactions. An inconsistent character lacks of credibility. Personality. This determines the tone of the reaction. Mood. Mood resembles personality. It, too, dictates the character's reactions. But unlike personality, its effect is temporary. The animator James Baxter gives us a visual and practical way to see the same. Approaching a scene. Be clear on the best way to stage a scene. Consider the correct angle to sell an emotion. How will I present my scene? Staging. Captive the attention of your audience. Make the engagement. Your eyes react to movement, color, and contrast. Use that to generate the attention. In the Jungle Book, we can see Shere Khan. Milt Cole has set it up so you only look at one thing at a time. Fred Astaire is also good at that. Posing. Note a ton of different attitudes within a scene. Usually, there is one or two major poses per scene. The Laban analysis. Leslie Bishko, an experimental animator and 3D animator, wrote a very interesting study about movement and animation. She used the Laban movement analysis, which is a conceptual framework for the observation, description, and interpretation of human movement that offers a movement vocabulary. This analysis can help us to expand our capabilities across a good number of combinations of its components, and where animation principles can potentially impose a specific style of animated movement, LMA is style neutral and therefore excels at articulating components of style. I invite you to read this interesting analysis, which you can find in the following link. Conclusion. Animators who work with characters need to evoke emotions, even the evil ones. A good example of the importance of acting in the animation field is that today Pixar Studio desirable skills for animators are their acting skills in the second place, and as a fifth priority their drawing skills. Whereas in 1939 the first priority for animators were their drawing skills.